Good evening, peoples. What a wild day in the markets again. I'm catching up. I've been doing Pulte pretty much daily. Sometimes I skip one day, and I'm coming forth with Coney and Misty. So here's Coney. Took quite a while to update all of my formatted data and get back on track here. What a day for Coney. Anybody saw it? Coney was up like 20, almost 24%. Um, and most of it had to do, or all of it really, was the inclusion in the S&P 500. What that does is when you announce that it's being added, it requires all the ETFs that track the S&P 500 to buy shares, right? If you really want to be a tracking, then unless you're doing some kind of options, futures, or swaps or something, but for the most part, you add all of the constituents of the S&P 500. So that's what sent Coney up. I think it's long overdue. I think this stock. So it closed at 256.90. Let's go down here and look up 23.97. How did Coney do? Not as well, right? Less than half. So I think there could be more upside here. Obviously, it's going to react the same way that coin reacts in the market for the most part, right? If coin continues up, it may not have the same percentage gain, but it'll go up. If coin gets sold down hard, I think there's some reasonable support, but anywhere from 230 to 270. And look at your spread. So let me catch you up. Initially, I got the intraday trades, and there wasn't anything in there for Coney or Pulte or many of the stocks at all. And then all of a sudden later, I saw another updated file and all kinds of trades. So I'm still in the process of putting Pulte together and Coney took a while, but wanted to get it out to you. So they had another, what was it, 18, actually 50,000. So if I go out here to my 200, don't worry, I didn't put all the data, but 16, it's not all fixed, but 16,080 contracts were sold. So good on them. I kind of wondered because when you blow up like that, they actually sold this for $62, the ones. Now, selling 16,000 leaves them with 30,000. So that was a lot of money. That was like 95. I'll go down here in a minute and I'll sum up. Um, yeah, 95,193, 71 cents worth of money based on the 134 million. This was up 75,000 shares, so it's not like everybody dove in. And to be honest, sometimes when you get busy, you just can't track every single thing that jumps. I mean, I didn't notice it until a few hours into the market, and then I read why and so forth. So anyway, positive news on Coney. You people that are in the fund, you're going to be happy. So let's continue down the path. So what did they do with the money that they cashed out? Well, they went back and they bought into a 250. Makes sense, right? You're out at 620. You've got 200s and you're at 256. So they sold the calls and bought the puts back. So it was like, between something selling for 62 and paying three something to close the put, it was 95 million. Well, they still have 176 million worth of ahead, right? It's book value. It's paper profit, but it's pretty real unless it disappears, right? The old famous last word. They're ahead 13 million just putting this trade on and then getting to the end of the day at the close. So very, very positive in that. The one area that you might figure, and Pulte has a little bit of this, um, because they didn't blow up 24%, but Pulte's been running, right? It was up, what, 123 or something, and our first call sold was 121. So you don't want the underlying to run over your calls because they don't start until a 10 spread. They don't start making money until 133 on their bought calls, all their sold calls. I'll get into Pulte later, but you get the idea here. Now, these are all the new ones because once they closed all the calls out, right? They bought back their sold ones, and that's what hurt them. And then they sold the ones they bought, which were well into the money. It just wasn't enough to offset the ones that got run by. So let's give you the math on that. I don't think you care individually, but the summary. So here's the remaining money profit, even though it isn't taken. This is booked and taken. This is the brand new 250 cents synthetic. That's the profit. This is the realized loss closed out in one day. They only owned these for 3 or 4 days. And then the new spreads are to put on the, yesterday on 513, expire on 516. So we stand possibly, I say to be determined, but there's about 27 million worth of potential profits, right? Um, well, that doesn't work because you bought these. Typically, you're going to lose on this down here and you're going to gain. It's just so hard to know where this thing goes. We're right up to where this one is losing 1.76 million. If we go right back into 254, 253 and head that way, then this thing will drop down to nothing, right? So and the same thing here, the 257's not been hit. If we close a week at 256, you collect that whole 10 million. Right now, it's showing on paper that it's a lot, it's 13 million. So you're losing 3 million. So that's how these spreads work. The idea in the spreads, you still sell calls like a singular naked call sell, but then you buy calls further up. Well, these aren't that far out. They're $10 and $15 spreads. And the protection, it's insurance. And generally, it's smart. I mean, you booked 95, you lost 109, but you still have 176 million. This is all in the 200s, let alone the 250s, right? And I'd be just as happy if we win all these. We go back and we close at 254 or below. I don't care that we lost some of the money on insurance, but I want to collect all this. Um, so that would be very positive um, in this scenario. And again, these are the individual ones, right? Buy to close on this. So when we had to buy out the 212 because we blew by it, it cost us almost 27 million. We only and on this guy, I think I got the wrong. I think this was only like 800 or 1050. It wasn't very many contracts, guys. So I got to figure out I copied and drug something down. It's not that important for the moment. Yeah. Okay. And then these were the calls that we had to buy back, and then these are the calls that we sold, right? That's how I got the difference in the monies. And I just messed this one up, but I really don't remember what the difference is. It's not that important. All this math over here was done to get to the minus 109. All right, guys. So let's get into Coney. What does it mean for Coney? I mean, I can talk and talk and talk, but what does it really mean? Well, that's all you care about. That's what most of us care about. You just have to do the math to sort of validate it. All right. So let's go. It's Group C, declares on 528, 14 days, right? Days till declaration, which we're going to get a declaration this evening on Group A, where I did my estimate over the weekend. So we shall see on Tesla. And Tesla's up nice. So, and I thought I would do something extra for you guys and saying, okay, you all know if you've owned Coney or a new owner of Coney. So it paid in May. This always pays the first early part of the month, right? This case, it's going to pay at the end of the month. It's going to declare on 5/28 and pay on 5/30, guys. So it's one of those months where you get paid twice in certain groups. So but then you probably won't have one the next month. I mean, you get 13, so I don't know. Some fund had it in January, so they won't have it anymore the rest of the year. And I have to go back and look at which ones. But needless to say, I assume all of the C's are like this, but clearly in Group C, Coney's that way. But okay, last time it paid, I went back. So you got December 24, this January 25, February, March, April, May. So you can pay it, say 65 cents. I was happy to get that. 43.81, 59, a dollar four. All right. The main thing here is I wanted to go back in and put the price on the day before declaration. So you have some semblance of what we're looking at. Well, guys, we're 857, but we got 2 weeks to go. I actually think Coney's pretty undervalued right now based on this S&P 500. Again, this could have a week or two impact of having it be lofty and then maybe get a 5 or 8% sell off, and then after that Coney's going to do what Coney's going to do based on crypto, based on, revenue forecast of Coinbase itself, etc. But anyway, it's long due that Coinbase and Coney were going to get positive, and I think this is super positive news. All right. So what does this all mean per share? Right? So we got 71 cents that we booked. So then we have a remaining profit, and they may take that off before the synthetic. Now that runs till 620, the 200 synthetic. It's good till 620, but probably to get ready for the next, they'll probably close it out and put, because they're so far in the money. Nobody likes to sit on big money that could disappear if Coinbase just went way down, right? It's like you had it, ooh, whoops, we lost it, right? So 10 cents here, we took an 81 cent. That's what happens even with spreads, guys. You don't expect a stock to go up 20. Misty, or sorry, MSTR, I could see it, but I don't think people were anticipating. But again, getting included in the S&P 500 is a big deal. Big deal. So 175 says we've got $1.30. I think we will collect a few million here. It's not going to, but where we stand to now, if we run further on the 250 synthetic, then we're going to hurt ourselves here, right? The problem gets to be everybody goes, well, this synthetic, we may run on up past the 250, but you know what? If we do, we start getting hurt here. So I'd like to see it stay 255 and below. All right. I mean, granted, if it went to 300, we'd get these, but we don't, this is the same amount of contracts, but you don't win. This just becomes a net neutral. I'd rather have us win a little bit. We're not going to make a lot on the spreads. All right. So that's it, peoples. I wanted you to see at 823, we're currently trading at 857. Can you imagine the yield on $1.30, $1.50? Now, we need more in the bank, but remember, we've got one all of next week, the rest of this week. So all the spreads next week will be all brand new. They'll close out everything on Friday and they'll go into new spread. So Coney's got a chance to get up to $1.80. I don't think they'll pay $2 even if we had 250 in cash that we earned. I just don't think they're going to pay $2 on an 875, maybe $9, maybe 9.5. But I do think they'll go back and pay. This was 1651 when they paid $1.33, 14 when they paid 83. They paid $1 on 1337. So I look at it two ways. I like to think that I'm going to get price appreciation in the NAV, you know, because my prices aren't that, my Coney prices are somewhere around 8.5. So I'm just at about break even on my NAV price now because I just got back into Coney, and then when it dropped way down into the sevens, I added more. Um, so I'm looking good. I'd love to see 10, $11 on this thing and love to get $1.50. So I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on with Coney. I'll get to Misty. I'm going to do some more on MST. You saw that I posted a video on that. I'll give you guys a feel for how that's going. And then also, I got to get Pulte out. You'll probably see that further into the morning or beginning of training. It's overall pretty positive, right? Because our synthetic is looking great. Yeah, we ran right up and into our uh, spreads, but I got to go analyze everything and see how bad of a hit it was. Um, Luckily on Coney, it was still a 109 hit, but they had some gains on the ones, right? It just wasn't enough gains to offset, you know, the amount. What is the math showing? Yeah, 145 and 36. All right, guys, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. That's it for Coney. Have a great day ahead. All right, bye for now. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor.